Welcome back into Hawks Huddle, episode 25. Mark Haskinet here, along with Jacqueline Kula. We are a quarter of the way to 100 episodes, Jacqueline. That's pretty cool as we do our 25th here on Friday, May the 21st. How are you doing? It's beautiful outside, Jacqueline, eh?
Oh my gosh, yes. We were talking about this last week. We're finally
Yeah,
getting some nice weather. Things are looking good. Vaccines are coming in quicker. The weather's getting nice. Looks like we have a bright future. So it's always nice to get these positive things going on, and
yeah.
then with the nice weather is always nice.
I know bringing it kind of back to sports. Everybody in Ontario, which is the only region where you couldn't golf, well, you can
Yeah.
go and golf now starting tomorrow. So finally, including a bunch of other sports. But
Mhm.
like we always kind of say, things are on the good side. Like it's positive,
Yeah.
things are looking a little bit better.
Mhm.
So today we no guests today. We were in a contact with a few guys as the NBA and NHL playoffs started. We're going to talk a bit about the big game last night between the Habs and the Leafs. A scary injury by the Leafs captain John Tavares, and also we talked about Tim Tebow a little bit over the past couple of weeks. Today it's official that he signed with Jacksonville. They announced that. We were waiting on that. Still kind of the same viewpoint on the situation, Jacqueline? Like it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, so he signed what? He just signed under a million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just an
so
entry
yeah,
contract.
1 year. He may not even sign. I believe he's the highest selling jersey today or
Yeah,
something. His apparel is like
yeah,
selling out today, which is pretty crazy. But it also kind of shows you that maybe this is kind of like publicity thing for the
it is. Yeah,
Jaguars. Maybe not like maybe not your coach and your team. It's more like the guys who are above him who
yeah.
really care about the money for the organization, and this is bringing you guys a lot of money, like a lot of money.
Big time, and that's the thing with Tebow, right? Like
Mhm.
I've always thought like it's a big, like I said last week. Who knows if he even makes the team?
Yeah.
We've never seen him play tight end, so like we said, he probably doesn't deserve the contract. But who
Mhm.
knows if he makes the team? And if anything, like you're saying, it's a publicity kind of publicity signing,
Mhm.
and Tebow's just a huge name. Like his
Yeah.
name carries such a big weight, and that's why the number 85 Tebow Jags jersey, like you said, is selling like crazy today on all of the websites. I would not buy that. I mean, I'm a Jags fan. I
No.
don't know why you would want a Tebow tight end Jaguars jersey.
Yeah, save your money and go buy that
Yeah,
Lawrence jersey. Like, come on.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, or any other player on the Jags if you're gonna buy a
Yeah.
Tebow, right? Or if you really want a Tebow jersey, buy his Broncos jersey.
Yeah, exactly. Buy a Bron or go buy his Mets jersey or
Right.
something, Like there's so many other jerseys or
It,
his Gators jersey, right? He played for the Gators,
yeah,
right? So
exactly.
there's so many different jerseys for him.
It just seems like such a waste of money, and I think that's a really good point that you bring up. It's kind of a publicity thing,
Mhm.
if anything. But we'll see how that plays out. I can't wait to see him in training camp just to see how good he is, and by that I mean how bad he probably will
Yeah.
be at
Yeah,
the
and
tight
he
end position.
he he never caught a pass in the NFL. And a lot of quarterbacks do. Well, I guess it's
Yeah,
kind of like a newer thing now, the trick plays,
yeah,
quarterback touchdown, right? But he never caught a pass ever. So this is
no,
gonna be interesting. In
yeah,
in, in camp, it's gonna be very interesting.
yeah, and that's what we talked about. We talked about the hands and we
Mhm.
talked about the blocking, which
Yeah.
is a big part of being a tight end, blocking. And
Yeah.
that's where I think he's going to struggle because we know he can run, we know he's big, we know he's kind
Yeah.
of pretty quick, but that's not all you need to be. So that'll be interesting. We'll follow along with that. We do want to make a focus a lot within this episode on Jake and Logan Paul, just because we hadn't talked about the Paul and Askren fight that happened about a month ago or
Yeah.
so now. So we are going to focus on that. But like I did say, the Leafs and the Habs started their series yesterday. I'm a big Habs fan,
Right.
and I'm hoping they're able to pull through. But the big news, they got a huge win yesterday, but the big news out of that game was the scary injury to John Tavares. Jacqueline, I like we saw Mahomes get concussed in the conference
Mhm.
championship game. We've seen a lot of other bad injuries. Like that was scary.
Yeah.
He got that knee right to the face. Like that
And
was scary.
it didn't even seem like it was so bad right away. But or like if you watch the play happen again, like the knee doesn't look it looks bad, but not like terrible. And then the trainer was like
Oh,
trying to pick him up. I don't really know what that was about. Aren't you supposed to just let them stay down and you
I
get
know.
whatever? But he gets up and then it's just like nothing's going on, but but
Well,
behind his eyes, and he
he's
goes
yeah.
backwards.
He's completely out of it, clearly.
Yeah,
Like
it was
absolutely out of it.
it was very scary to
But
see him just like yeah fall back.
that's what I mean. Like nobody knew what was going on. Like it didn't look too bad. The play
Mhm.
wasn't on camera originally.
Yeah.
So when they cut to him, he was just kind of lying lifeless on the ice. And
Mhm.
then like you said, the trainers tried to lift him up and he's right back down. Like that was the scariest part
Yeah.
that he had like that shows you how not conscious really the guy
Mhm.
was. And gushing out blood from his eye. It was really scary. I'm glad he released a statement today. The Leafs also released a statement. He's back at home, released from the hospital, doing okay.
Good.
But wow, that's scary, and he's going to be out for a good bit. I don't know if you saw on like the Toronto Sun and a couple other newspapers, like they put that play and they put like that instance where the trainers were like
Mhm.
trying to put him up on the front page, and like I just don't know. I don't understand why you would put that on. It was kind of graphic, like it was hard to watch in a
Oh yeah,
sense.
he has tons of blood like coming from where was it? It was like his forehead is coming from or the side of his
Yeah,
head. I
it
it,
was like it looked like the side of his eye, but
yeah.
my goodness, like, and the thing is too, it wasn't intentional. I really don't think it
No.
was. It
People are
was,
saying it is and it was not. You can tell. Like I know people don't like Corey Perry for whatever reason,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that was not like he fell, right? Wasn't that like you can tell that he wasn't intentionally doing it. You can tell that he
yeah,
tripped and his knee or whatever cuz Tavares got hit and he didn't know
exactly, yeah.
he didn't know he was going to get hit right in front of him. Like I
Well,
don't know.
that's the thing, right? And people, and exactly, people who are saying it's intentional or who are saying because Perry's kind of a little bit of a gritty
Yeah.
player, a little bit of a dirty player in some instances, like that has nothing to do though with that play. Like it was so quick. There's like Tavares was hit, like you said, and then Perry in an instant second, like his knee kind of connected with his head.
Yeah.
He tried to jump out of the way, which in sense probably made it worse, but like
Yeah.
there's not much he could have done, right?
Mhm.
Like so it's really scary. Obviously, sending all the thoughts to Tavares.
Mhm.
That's going to change the way the series goes, obviously, and the Leafs' chances and the Habs' chances. But I think as of right now, it's just most important to say hopefully he's okay because
Yeah,
that, like I said, that was one of the scarier injuries I've seen. So
for sure.
just super scary. Game two of that series is tomorrow, Saturday night, and that'll be awesome to see. Like I said, I'm cheering for the Habs a bunch. This is the first time the two teams have met in about 40 years in a
Wow.
playoff series. So
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping on that. I don't really know what kind of bandwagon I'm jumping on because I'm a Rangers fan and
yeah,
we didn't really make it this year. But I don't know. Maybe it's time. Like I'm not saying I want to look for a new team, but my whole Rangers team, the team that I fell in love with, is a totally different team, right? Lundqvist is
yeah,
gone. Zuccarello, one of my favorite players, hasn't been there for a few years. Like we're a totally different team, and I'm like, I'm not crazy about this team anymore. So
yeah.
do I kind of jump on a Canadian team bandwagon? Montreal, maybe Toronto. I don't know because I used to be a Leafs fan when I was really young,
Right.
and then I kind of became a Rangers fan. But right now, who I'm cheering for is just a Canadian team.
That's
So
what I was gonna say. You're hoping a
yeah.
Canadian team wins
Oh,
this
100.
year, right?
Last time Canadian team won was Montreal, right? What,
Yeah,
was that 93 or 94? It was 93.
93. Yeah,
And the Rangers were 94, yeah. Um,
right.
so yeah, I just want to see a Canadian team win because the last time we were even a Canadian team was close was Vancouver, right? Which was like 10 years
Yeah,
ago, which
yeah.
caused
When
a
they
lot
had the
of
riots.
the riots. It's freaky. So I would love to see a Canadian team win now.
I'm I'm with you 100%. The Habs, if they are to make it past this round, they're going to have fans back in the
Yeah.
stadium. Quebec cut back there or is
Right.
easing up their restrictions.
Yeah.
So they would be the first Canadian team to have fans.
Wow.
Granted, they are still playing past May 28th.
Yeah.
We will see.
We
But
will
that's the
see.
one thing that I've noticed in the NHL. Like the other games, Florida, Boston, they all have fans there, and it is
Mhm.
electric atmosphere.
It's hard to
Um,
watch without fans. It's hard to like get into it fully when there's no fans because it's like it's silent, you know.
yeah,
But
and I think
so
we've touched on that a
mhm.
little bit throughout this. So, do we want to kind of shift this over to the boxing sort of talk? We haven't talked too much about boxing on this show.
Mm-mm.
We did talk about Jake and Logan when they were first starting up. Now we had that another fight by Ben Askren against Paul about a month ago that drew a bunch of viewership, and
Yeah.
everybody's been talking about.
That was huge. Yeah, we talked about the Robinson Jake Paul fight.
Right.
That was November, I think it was. I think it was early on in our
Yeah.
podcast. Um and I was pretty shocked that, he knocked him out. It was quite the Nate
Yeah.
Robinson became quite the meme.
Yes.
And then Jake just fought Ben Askren, knocked him out as well. About a month ago, maybe a little bit over a month. That was also kind of shocking because Ben Askren is an Olympian. He's not a boxer, but he is a fighter. He's a retired fighter though, or it's
Yeah.
retired whatever. But people still did not think Jake was gonna knock him out. Some are
No.
saying it was rigged, blah blah, because he looked pretty happy at the end. Listen, he was happy because Ben Askren made $1 million. I don't think he was so happy that he got
Of course.
knocked out by a YouTuber who everybody hates in the entire world hates him. So I'm sure he wasn't happy about that. But you know, Jake has still kind of been in the news with boxing. He just signed a multi-year deal with
Mhm.
I think it's Showtime Boxing. So I don't know
Oh
what that
wow.
what that means. Who he's going to be boxing? So he's boxing professional boxers. I don't know
And he
total what that
has
means.
like he's 3-0 now, right? Isn't that his is that
He's
his official record?
well 4-0, but one of them was like a YouTube boxing match, so it wasn't
Right.
professional. But professionally, it's three. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So he's undefeated
Yeah.
regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you touched on with that Askren fight, a lot of people wanted to say, yeah, it was rigged,
Mm-hmm.
or it was all for money. And listen, any boxing fight, any UFC fight, it usually is for money.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Both of the fighters go into it wanting to win. None of them
Of
go into it wanting to be
course.
knocked out, right?
No, because now Ben Askren's always going to be seen as the guy who got knocked out by a YouTuber.
A
Like
YouTuber, yeah. And
he's gonna hate that.
that's pretty funny too. How they're always, Jake. How long is that YouTube like thing gonna stick with them? Because yes, that's how they
Yeah.
started their career. But like,
Well,
if Jake and Logan get good, like, are we gonna say like a YouTuber anymore, or can we call them boxers? Right.
Well, they actually started off on Vine, which is
Okay.
an app that is no longer here today, but it was a
Yeah.
huge app, like about 7 years ago maybe. That was their first start. So I didn't watch, I wasn't into Vine really, but when they started on YouTube, they were known as the Vine kids. They were on
Right.
Vine, the Viners. And then they kind of became like the kings of YouTube and racking in like 17 mil a video, 15 mil a video,
Yeah.
20 mil sometimes. Then they became YouTubers. So now what we see them as YouTubers. Logan, I kind of see as a bit of a podcaster now.
Right.
I think he has a great podcast. Jake, I'm kind of seeing people are gonna start calling him a boxer now. Logan, not yet, because his Logan's last fight was against another YouTuber and he lost. So I think he's just gonna be seen as a YouTuber podcaster. But I think Jake is now going to start being seen as a boxer. But after this fight with Mayweather, Logan might be seen as a boxer. I'm not too
And
sure.
yeah, and that is do you know when is that Logan and Mayweather fight? Do we
June 6th.
June 6th? So that's
Yeah.
actually coming up, right? So
Coming
that
up very soon. Yeah.
yeah, in a few weeks, and that is going to be really, really interesting. I mean, I cannot wait. I love that we're talking about this now because I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
That is going to be a huge fight. I mean, obviously Floyd Mayweather never lost before. He's
No.
beaten some of the best boxers to have ever fought.
Yeah.
That's why I think if Logan's able to pull this one through, and depending on how it works out, then I think a lot of people are going to bring up the fact that it's rigged again. But we'll see how
Yeah.
it plays out. Uh,
I think if Logan stays on his feet the entire time, even if he can't get one punch on Floyd and he gets 100 punches on him, he's gonna be seen as a winner if he does not get knocked out. I think
yeah,
that's what's gonna happen. Also, with Floyd, as we said before, it's all about money. Floyd
it
loves
is.
to win, but I think he loves money even more.
He
Right?
does.
These guys who box, they love the money. So he knows Logan Paul. If Floyd loses to Logan Paul, which I don't think is
Yeah.
possible, I don't think it is possible for him to lose to Logan. But if he does, then like that ruins his entire career forever. Like as
Oh.
one of the greatest boxers of all time, if he loses to a YouTuber, like
Oh my, I know exactly. Like
he's
this is
done.
it's huge for Floyd. I think it's more of like the pressure is on Mayweather a
Oh
bit more,
yeah, I think
because
so.
he's carrying that huge record in, and he's like I said, he's beaten some of the best boxers to have ever fought. Like if he's to lose this, it tarnishes his kind of whole
There
career.
there's no way he's gonna lose. Like
No.
I don't see any possibility unless he like slips and breaks his ankle or something. And I don't know, but it's impossible for him to lose. So I think
That
Logan Paul is a genius though. I think the Paul
yeah.
brothers are geniuses.
Yeah, and we're gonna touch about on that too, and I think this kind of goes to like what you just said there. That's what I was gonna say. Jake Paul, like after that Askren fight, and there was a big UFC fight the week after and
Hmm.
stuff, and he was out there sort of
Yeah,
chirping all the big boxers.
yeah,
Daniel Cormier, one of the bigger UFC heavyweights, they were going back and forth. Dana White has always been beacon back and forth with
yeah,
Jake Paul, right? And then, of course, which is surprising how we haven't touched on this yet, but all the videos that Paul came out with trying to challenge Conor
yes,
McGregor,
McGregor, yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
He's
But this goes to the point, like what you just said at the end there, and we're gonna get into that. They're smart, like they're smart.
yeah,
Does them a real like this is great for publicity. This is great for people like us talking about them.
yeah.
They're profiting off of it. It's smart. It's smart.
Like they're so like with the Floyd Logan. If you saw the press conference they did in Miami,
I didn't know.
Jake was there, and there's people are talking about the press conference, of course, but after the conference on the headlines, it wasn't Logan Paul against Mayweather, it was Jake Paul against Mayweather. Because did you see the thing where he stole his hat? Got
I didn't
got
see
your
that.
hat?
No.
Yeah, he stole his hat after the press conference, and he yelled like
Oh,
got it whatever, and ran away with it. He got, I think, beat up by all of his guards, Mayweather's guards, and he got a tattoo.
right.
Jake got a tattoo saying "Gotcha hat," and he sold like merchandise because he said
Oh,
that to Mayweather. There's a video of it. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out, because that was all over like headlines. It wasn't Logan. No one was talking about Logan. It was
right.
all about Jake versus Floyd. Um, and what Jake, like, doing that is already now going to bring so many more people to watch this fight. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure Jake actually might
yeah.
be banned. I saw in Logan's video that Jake is going to be banned from the fight. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but um, these guys are geniuses, especially Jake. Jake,
Yeah.
especially, because he's seen as this bad guy. Listen, I don't know if he's a bad guy. Maybe he is. Maybe he's actually this really, really nice guy, but he's so smart. He's a business guy. He's trying to get in this
Yes.
money
Yeah.
like everyone else, and he knows what he needs to do.
Well,
So,
go
mhm,
ahead. It's his character, right? Yeah, like
yeah,
it's about like they're smart. They know, like you say, business. They're building up their character.
yeah,
And like you said, now how many more people are tuned into that
yeah.
Mayweather fight because of what because of what Jake did, right?
People want to see them lose. People will
Yeah.
spend tons and
Yep.
tons of money just to watch them lose. That's it.
Yes.
So they have
Yes.
so many haters. And it's like, most people will be like, oh, it's terrible to have all these haters. Not for these guys. I think these
Oh,
guys love it because
they
these guys
thrive off it.
are businessmen. They care,
Yeah.
they want the money. Like, you see them, like, they made tons of money in YouTube because of these feuds that they would have. And now they're making tons of money because they're boxing people, and fans of the sport don't want to see YouTubers in the sport. So they
Yeah.
want to see them get knocked down.
Yep. Yep. So many people. I mean, I think the average the average person is just hoping that they get knocked out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
Right?
I was honestly kind of wanting to see a knockout against Askren. I want to see Ben knock Jake out. But now it's like you kind of want to cheer for him because it's pretty cool what he's doing.
Yeah.
But especially like the adults, they don't want it. They know none of them want to see the boys succeed.
No, and that's been where most of the criticism is from, like the actual boxing, like the boxing circle.
Hmm.
It's actually really interesting that he got that Showtime deal now, though.
Yeah.
That's super interesting because that's a big
Hmm.
boxing broadcaster. But all these UFC fighters, right? Like we talked about Dana White
Yeah.
and a bunch of UFC fighters saying, like, guys, Jake and Logan, like, you guys do not fit in this sport. Like, go
Yeah.
back to YouTube, basically, right?
Yeah.
But that is what thrives, like that is what makes the fight so
Mm-hmm.
highly watched and
Yeah.
pay-per-view and all of that. I remember, yeah, like Ben Askren was favored in that fight against Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I think like triple, like 3-1, were his odds compared to Paul, and Paul's able to go out and knock him in the first round, knock him out in the first round.
Yeah.
So that really makes us look at him a bit more. Does Jake have a next fight scheduled or no?
Nothing scheduled. I don't believe that there's anything scheduled yet, but like I think he's gonna try to go for a boxer now this time because he's making his way up, right? He started off
Yeah,
with like a YouTuber, then he started off with another YouTuber who had some sort of training, I
basketball
think.
player,
And
right?
then it was basketball player Nate Robinson, who's a freak of an athlete. He could have played
Yes.
football as well. One of the greatest dunkers, he's like what 5'9",
For
5'8".
being
He's
so
like a
small, yeah.
great athlete. And then he got to Askren, who's an Olympian. He's a real fighter, not a boxer, but he's a fighter. And so I think now he needs to find a boxer, but not like he can't be fighting a guy like Mayweather or anything like that. Like he needs to find someone who's not as good. Like he needs to find someone
Yeah.
on his level. But the thing about Jake is that we don't really know how, his level. Like he could
Yeah.
be like maybe he is the greatest boxer. Like who knows? Like
Yeah.
we need to
He'll
see
he'll
him,
say that. Yeah.
of course, but we need to see him with like a really even match. I think Dylan Dennis, I think he's a boxer. I'm not sure for sure who he is,
Yeah.
but I know he has some beef with Jake, so maybe there's gonna be a fight there. I'm not too sure, but people are gonna tune in no matter what. And there's actually another a fight gonna be happening the week after that. Is like a TikToker fight. I don't know if you've been following that kind of stuff. There's a
Oh.
TikTokers versus YouTubers fight,
Oh,
and it's
really?
like this huge thing now going on like social media, and all of this is happening because of the Paul brothers. So now there's this huge event with some sort of company. These guys are going to be making like millions of dollars to fight, and these kids have never fought in their life. So it's
Wow.
a huge trend now that everybody just wants to box. Like I watch, like I want to go box now. Like that looks crazy. It looks fun, but it looks, you got to be careful. I don't know if I want to box, like people yet. Maybe
Yeah.
just like do some my own stuff. But they're making the sport popular for a
Yes.
different kind of generation. Like my generation, I don't think is huge into boxing. But now, like, or even girls really, like they're not, most of my friends probably don't even know any boxers, but I'm sure a lot of people are gonna tune in because these
Yeah.
guys are huge names.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the names, and that is good for the sport.
Yeah.
As much as the guys in the sport don't want them to be in their sport, it's good for the sport because yes, it's drawing the eyes on them. I think it is about finding the level of talent for Jake Paul. It's
Mm.
hard to, like you said, like what would be an even fight for him,
Yeah.
right? Like the thing is with Askren too, he was like you said retired,
Hmm.
and I think he was about 36 or 37. So like he was up there in age too, right? So
Yeah.
I agree with you. Super intrigued. Like I haven't watched too much. I didn't watch too much of the Paul brothers on YouTube.
Hmm.
Not at all on Vine. I didn't even know they were on Vine. I remember you saying that though. And I'm intrigued now. Like I am very
Yeah.
intrigued about their fights. Obviously
Yes.
the Logan and Floyd fight, and yeah, Jake Paul, like with his antics and the way that he's slowly trying to get other boxers or UFC
Hmm.
fighters to fight him. It's I'm intrigued, and I think it goes to what we've said. Like they're hated on,
Hmm.
but you need. We were saying this off air. The only way you're going to succeed, and I think this is across all sectors, especially if you live a public life, is if you have haters. You're always going to
Yeah,
have
you need to be
haters.
a little controversial. You need to be in the media. It's like the Kardashians, like
Yeah.
that's like the perfect example. People don't like them. People,
No.
I'm a huge Kardashian fan, but a lot of people don't. But they always find ways to make it on the headlines with drama or whatever, and people, want to see them do dumb stuff,
Yeah.
whatever. They have a lot of haters, but your haters are going to be checking out things that you do more than your supporters. So, the more
Exactly.
haters you have, that means that you're doing a good job. So,
Yep.
Logan and Jake, like Logan's a good guy though of what he puts on like the on the internet and stuff. Like he's not a controversial guy. He was though, but now he seems like
Yeah.
a really good guy. But people still just want to see him lose because he is a Paul brother. He's a successful
Yep.
YouTuber. People want to see them lose. So I just think they're really smart guys. And I cannot wait for this Logan Floyd fight.
I know. I can't wait. I didn't even know. I knew it was in June. I didn't think it was June 6th. So
Yeah.
that is really, really coming up, about 2 weeks away.
Hmm.
And we will see how that goes down. You know, you got a 49-0 record. I think that's where Floyd stands, 49-0. Looking for his 50th win against like we're saying, a YouTuber basically, right? In Logan Paul.
Hmm.
So super, super interesting. Yeah, like the haters, that's what makes them kind of thrive. Jake
Yeah.
and Logan aren't worried about their haters.
No.
Yeah, they're just worried about the amount of people who are talking about them, the amount of
Yeah.
websites and articles are written, and then getting that big contract. I wonder how much Logan and Floyd are
Ooh,
getting paid for this
it's
fight.
me crazy.
Oh
It's.
yeah,
I
it's
think it's gonna
it's
be, and I think this may break records because the Jake Paul fight broke
yeah,
records,
yeah,
right? So this fight, oh my gosh,
yeah.
it's gonna be crazy.
And it just it shows you how, like we said, how big of a brand they've built.
Yeah.
And I think with this showcase deal, like you said, I think that's just gonna um, they have ways to go up, just keep growing. Like they're only getting started, both Jake
Yeah.
and Logan, right? So
Yeah.
super, super interesting. We will stay tuned to that
Mhm.
June 6th for Logan and Floyd. And obviously we'll keep up with Jake and all of his antics. I got to see that tattoo that he got in the
You
hat
got
stealing.
it.
I can't
Yeah.
believe I missed that. Yeah. So was that recent, right?
Yeah, that was
Couple
like
weeks
about a
maybe?
week or two ago. Yeah, I was in Miami for the press conference, and Logan was all upset after, like, because
Yeah.
Jake is just making it about him, but it's gonna sell tickets. So
100%, 100%. The more eyes are on it, and the more people are talking about it. So that's the goal, no matter
yeah,
what, right? So that's awesome. Like we're saying, they're smart people. We will stay tuned to that. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight on the podcast. NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs,
mm-hmm,
they continue to roll on.
mm-hmm,
In the NFL, yeah, the Tebow news is kind of the biggest. We're
mm-hmm,
waiting on news with Rogers. It's all kind of quiet on that front.
mm-hmm.
Um, who knows what happens there? And then yeah, the next thing will be training camps and stuff. The Giants did end up signing Kelvin Benjamin. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about that for a quick second last
Yeah.
week. They signed him. Um, but yeah, outside of that, that'll do it for tonight. We're going to be back next week to wrap it all up, do it all again. And thank you, Jacqueline, for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
want to reiterate, as always, subscribe to us on YouTube at Hawks Huddle Podcast. Drop a like on the video. We greatly appreciate that. And on Instagram, if you do have it, follow us, please, at Hawks Huddle Podcast. But I think that is going to do it, Jacqueline. Thank you. And
Thank
we will
you.
see you all next week on Hawks Huddle.